What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video. Today I wanted to talk about Amari Cooper continuing to get linked to the New York Jets, and honestly, I don't really understand it, but let's talk through it. So ESPN took a look at remaining free agents and gave them a team that makes the most sense, and Amari Cooper to the New York Jets was listed, and I don't see it. Let's talk through it. ESPN talks about the Jets wide receiver room and it's an issue and that Cooper's still a good route runner. And look, I'm not coming on here today in this video to tell you how great the Jets wide receiver room that's not what I'm going to do here. That's naive. It's short-sighted. It's not how I genuinely believe. I think outside of Garrett Wilson, there's a lot of question marks in this wide receiver room. But something I'm not understanding is why a 31-year-old Amari Cooper is going to fix that, especially based off the season he had a year ago. So there were a couple big wide receiver trades that happened last year in season, and I wanted to talk about two that happened in the AFC East. One is the New York Jets trading for Devonte Adams, and while the New York Jets did not, end up making the playoffs and it wasn't a great season, Devonte Adams was, relatively productive for them in the short rental stint. And Amari Cooper was traded to the Buffalo Bills from the Cleveland Browns. And obviously Buffalo had significantly more success than the New York Jets did. But Amari Cooper was essentially a non-factor for the Buffalo Bills. In 8 games in Buffalo, he went for 20 catches and 297 yards and 2 touchdowns. He finished the year with 44 catches, on 85 targets for 547 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's a big time drop off from production, what you're used to, right? Like Cooper, to his credit, for a long time, 1,200 yard receiver, just really, really good number one receiver. Takes a step back, and I'm assuming you're going to see another step back, because usually when you see 30-year-old wide receivers that fall off a little bit, fall off a cliff production-wise in a season, it's not like they generally bounce back from that. I'm going to give you a number of examples. Julio Jones, at his age 31 season, had 771 yards in his last year in Atlanta. He goes to Tennessee, 430 and a touchdown. Odell, off the injury at 30 years old, you got to sign him, 35 catches, 565 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then played a handful of games in Miami last year and did virtually nothing. You have other names like Allen Robinson, who the Jets have been linked to forever, it feels like. Robert Woods, AJ Green. Hell, the Jets have even done this recently, and I'll use recently, relatively loosely, going back to 2014. But, big name hunting, Le'Veon Bell, James Robinson, Chris Johnson, Dalvin Cook, all those guys brought in here and honestly didn't really do all that much for the New York Jets. And unfortunately, I think Jet fans get in a habit of name hunting or name chasing, and that's not the way that I think the Jets should go this offseason. I'm not saying that you never add a veteran on your team and never sign anyone over 30 years old. That's not what I'm saying, but you got to pick and choose your spots. And, chasing a guy who's, just a big name to chase the big name and going, 2-3 years ago was really productive, I think we can get him back to that point. It's probably naive. I don't know, Jadeveon Clowney is an example of a player over 30 years old, different position, different side of the ball, but continues to produce anywhere he goes. He's bounced around the league, but has remained pretty productive. Calais Campbell, another veteran, approaching 40 years old, but was really, really good and productive throughout his 30s. Al Woods for the Jets was a good example before he gets hurt. But again, especially looking at wide receivers, it's rare to see guys remain incredibly productive throughout their 30s. And when it starts to go, it's very hard to get back to that point. And once again, I'm not saying that the Jets wide receiver room is perfect. It's clearly not, but I don't know how much Amari Cooper is really pushing the needle forward for you. And you have to see what you have with this roster. And you don't want a veteran who's, honestly, past his prime, Demaryius Thomas, RIP, so a guy like that coming in and taking reps away from a younger player who might actually be able to show you whether he has something or not. I don't see the fit for the New York Jets this year. Again, I get it. A lot of people, like he's a name that you've seen from watching the league for a long time, and maybe he's on your fantasy team, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a good fit for the Jets in 2025. So I'm out on the Amari Cooper bandwagon. I don't think it'd be a good fit for the New York Jets. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm Matt O'Leary. Subscribe if you're new here, and I'll catch you next time.